What a beautiful day this is. Absolutely gorgeous. Caribbean sunshine. Listen. First and foremost, I must say thanks to the Almighty God, Jesus Christ, for allowing me to live to see this day, this historic day. Because without His grace and mercy, I wouldn't be standing here. Secondly, I'd like to thank Yubi and Jack for inviting me to this event. I'd also like to thank the people for creating this space for us to put our story through at this pivotal moment in history, because it is. When I was asked to speak, I asked you and Jack, what do you want to talk about? He said, because, bear in mind, I've put my story in a book already. You should share. And I should take this opportunity to invite every one of you. Sit your grandparents down. Subtract, and I use the term subtract, every information, historical information that you got. Because you don't want anyone else to write your history. You must write it yourself. Every one of us has got an history to write. And, let me just take you a little bit, because it's a historical journey. I left Jamaica when I was 16 years of age. I remember being at number 1 pair with my mother and my beloved sister Ruby. And when we got onto this big boat, it wasn't a banana boat, incidentally. It was the SS Bigona boat. I was somebody said Bigona. I was a minor, age 16, so I had to be chaperoned. And when I reached Southampton, a culture shock, it wasn't a word. There was so much smoke. That's right. And so I embarked on this journey into Blighty, Mother England. Wow, what a journey, what a fight. But our great author, one of our best authors actually, James Baldwin, remember him? Yeah. Go Tell It on the Mountain, this angry black man. He said, and he described journey. He says a journey is exactly that. Because you don't know what you're going to find, and you don't know what, when you find it, what it's going to do to you. I never know what this journey would have in mind for me. I spent my first night with my chaperone at Coal Harbour Lane. My father thought I was coming because the following day, poor man. But anyway, the chaperone directed me to Dalian Road, 63 Dalian Road. I'll never forget that. I'll tell you why now. I met a black person, a tall black man, whilst I was stumbling to find where I was going. And I said, in Jamaica I had immaculate mannerism. I have to say, if I passed my senior unless I said, Master, Yana, Master. It does not be here now. And I wanted, this was the first black man I met, and I said, Mister. And he called me, and he said, listen, in this country, you don't refer to anyone as Mister. His name is John Hall or whatever. My father fetched me to Birmingham, and I remember, now we're talking about housing. I came to my father with my stepmother. They had one room, and I had to sleep on the corner of a settee for 3 weeks. And my father got me a room, he says a room, but it was actually a bed down Mitchell's Park Road, near the bath. 3 adult men shared that room with me. And I could hear certain things when they brought in their women in the nighttime. And that's the problem. When you want to the bath, and incidentally, my father died some years ago, God bless his soul. one discussion, because I was brought up with him. He told me one thing, and this I've never forgotten. He says, you must look after yourself, because if you don't, no one else is going to look after you. I suppose he was referring to my health, having a bath. And I don't know if any of you here know where Nietzsche's bath was. Down Nietzsche's. And there was another bath up by the university called Bath Road. And we had to go because those landlords in those days, they wouldn't allow you to use the facility in their home. So that was something else. But I don't want to take up too much time, but let me just push on. One of the reasons why I appreciate these 12 heroes, because they didn't make institutional or systematic racism stop them. What they did, they pick up the cross. And I was just thinking of Jesus Christ carrying the cross. The cross of inequality. Because it was because of that why we had the likes of the great Malcolm X, who came to Samuel in 1965 and said, what's going on? Right? So, those are the sort of issues. And don't forget, there was no laws giving us protection. We're talking about the 60s and something. The first Race Relation Act came in 1965. And it's not that it wasn't toothless. It had some tooth, but it wasn't good enough. Because the major problem we faced was housing. And they had to amend it to the 28 Act, 1928. And so therefore, those were the situation. And when the council did get over the ego or whatever stupidity, they used to place us on these council estates. I bet you some of you never know this. They used to place black people 6 apart. 6 houses apart. Because they didn't want to, as they call it, to be ghettoized. But they won't tell you that, but I learned that in social science. That's the level of racism. Because we weren't allowed to purchase our own house. Number one, the banks wouldn't lend us anymore. We had to use partners. Blessed. Illegal, my foot. That should become legal. Who said that we're not capable of running our own thing? You know, so listen. I don't know. So let me just say this. I could talk all day, but I'm going to be obedient. One of the things they used to tell me, get back to the effing factory. That's the type of level of racism. Don't forget, we've been criticized by our people, but we use all the weapons that was at our disposal, including standing up. So, to end it here, big congratulations. I want you to give them a round of applause to these heroes, these giants, these kings who took up the mantle and decided that you're not going to win and we are surviving.
Well done. Well done.